Welcome back to our channel, where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family.
Today, we bring you some news.
Prince William makes a bold move against King Charles's last wish for Camilla. According to an insider source, Prince William and his stepmother, Queen Camilla, are clashing over King Charles's dying wishes and royal assets. Palace insiders and unsubstantiated reports have described rising tensions regarding Queen Camilla's position, the future of the Royal Lodge, and legal complexities surrounding the King's will. Sources say Prince William was shocked to learn of his father's intentions to favour Camilla in his will, particularly concerning Prince Andrew's Royal Lodge estate. Despite Buckingham Palace's seemingly unchangeable marble facade, the House of Windsor finds itself at a precarious juncture behind its gilded doors. Charles, King of England, is now battling cancer, while Camilla, Queen Consort, has assumed a significantly expanded role in public life. Prince William, who is 41 years old and the heir, is quietly reshaping the crown that he will one day inherit. A power struggle has emerged, centered on three flashpoints: the ownership of Royal Lodge, control of royal funds, and the specific wording of a sovereign's will. These tensions have been hinted at through leaked briefings, rapid staff reshuffles, and selective denials. Insiders describe a court maneuvering for advantage as ill health, constitutional precedent, and decades-old resentments converge. In public, the family preaches unity, but privately, they are engaged in strategic positioning. The focal point of the Royal Lodge. Royal Lodge is a Georgian palace with 30 rooms, located in Windsor Great Park. Prince Andrew is the current tenant of Royal Lodge until 2078. According to a report published by the Royal Observer in June 2024, King Charles's draft will include an unexpected provision that would allow Camilla to live in the home for the rest of her life if he passes away before her. Two former courtiers claim that legal clerks discovered this wording while performing routine estate work. They add that Prince William was never informed about the matter. A witness described the heir's reaction as white-hot fury, primarily because the provision appeared to contradict an existing lease for the Crown estate. Furthermore, the heir believed that the clause directly opposed the palace's new credo of a slimmed-down monarchy. Queen Elizabeth, sometimes referred to as the Queen Mother, resided at Royal Lodge from 1952 until 2002. Supporters of the king argue that a dowager queen is typically granted a lovely rural residence, citing Queen Elizabeth as an example. Conversely, some argue that King George gifted the land to the Queen Mother rather than displacing a royal tenant already living there. Lawyers consulted by The Times acknowledged that the Crown Estate Act of 1961 grants a sovereign a wide range of discretionary powers, but they cautioned that using this authority against a 75-year lease could lead to litigation and compensation in the millions of pounds. Although palace representatives emphasized that any talk of a transfer is purely speculative, observers noted that scaffolding, roofers, and painters were seen on the premises in March 2025. Such activity has fueled rumors that some form of restoration, or even a discreet handover, may already be in progress. A monarchy in every way. Charles's deteriorating health influences every decision. In February, the palace reported that the 76-year-old king is undergoing chemotherapy for an unidentified form of cancer discovered after prostate surgery. He has halved his public engagements. Camilla is increasingly stepping into his role at state banquets, investitures, and international visits. Although royal physicians privately recommended cancelling the state visit to Italy in April, Charles insisted on proceeding, citing long-planned trade agreements. Diplomats present at a reception held by the Italian Senate reported that the king appeared clearly exhausted, as though every step cost him. Immediately after his return to London, he was instructed to follow a period of aggressive rest, leading to the cancellation of the garden party season. ITV interviewed medical oncologists who warned that chemotherapy in older adults might impair cognitive clarity. Constitutional academics have noted that the Regency Acts provide for 4 councillors of state, including William, to exercise royal powers if King Charles becomes unable to do so. For now, a formal regency is not required, however. Palace insiders agree that preparations for unforeseen circumstances have already begun. William's supporters worry that the king's frailty makes him more susceptible to the influence of those around him. Camilla's office denies any allegations of undue influence, emphasizing that private secretaries, cabinet ministers, and the Privy Council review all documents presented to the Queen. A clean-up of the legal system. Mishcon de Rea has become Prince William's primary firm for matters concerning the Duchy of Cornwall and personal affairs, according to an item published in the court circular at the end of March. The shift surprised many, as Harbottle had served King Charles for decades and also represented Queen Camilla's charity organization. Sources close to William indicate that he was concerned upon discovering that versions of the king's will were being reviewed by attorneys who also assist Camilla with security, public relations, and title issues. They assert that switching firms creates an independent firewall and prevents any changes that could be questioned in the future. Kensington Palace describes the transition as sound modern governance, although top courtiers agree that Charles was given only 24 hours' notice before the change was implemented. An official present at the meeting at Sandringham, where William relayed this information to his father, described the atmosphere as icy cordiality, but they claim that father and son ultimately reached a consensus on the importance of transparency. Nevertheless, the prince's private secretary now requires 48 hours advance notice of any estate planning documents, a privilege previously exclusive to the monarch's chief private secretary. Prince William's bold moves regarding the financial audit. In 2022, when William inherited the Duchy of Cornwall, he commissioned KPMG to conduct a comprehensive audit. Leaks indicate 2 red flag findings, although the final report remains confidential. The first concerns an unusually high concentration of refurbishment contracts awarded to companies linked to Annabel Elliot, Camilla's sister. The second reveals that material markups on 3 Windsor Farm estate projects exceed industry averages by more than a third. While there was no evidence of criminal activity, Elliott's consulting firm quietly shut down the following spring. Camilla's supporters argue that the figurines exhibited craftsmanship of a heritage-grade quality. Some of William's advisors contend that even the appearance of favoritism conflicts with his public commitment to transparency. The racehorses owned by Queen Elizabeth are also embroiled in a financial dispute. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge inherited over 60 thoroughbred horses, but sold 14 of them at auction in just 8 weeks, generating £1.3 million. Royal aides assert that the sale covered ongoing stabling expenses, while detractors claim that the funds were used for renovations at Ray Mill, Camilla's private property in Wiltshire. Princess Anne reportedly objected to the early distribution at a closed family meeting. The title procedure has exacerbated tensions. In her greeting for the Jubilee celebration in 2022, Queen Elizabeth expressed her sincere wish for Camilla to hold the title of Queen Consort. However, on the day of the coronation in 2023, the term consort mysteriously disappeared from the palace's website, as well as from invitations and souvenirs. Camilla's office described the adjustment as a return to past traditions, but many perceived it as abrupt and disrespectful to Diana's legacy. One of William's close friends succinctly summarized the prince's feelings, stating he'll never say so in public, but the speed unsettled him. The problem with Prince Andrew. In 2003, Prince Andrew made an upfront payment of £7.5 million for a 75-year lease on Royal Lodge, under the condition that he would be responsible for its upkeep. Legal professionals contacted by Channel 4 News believe that to evict him without his agreement, either a buyout from the Crown Estate or a new directive from the Treasury would be necessary. In February, Andrew declined an invitation to downsize to Frogmore Cottage, previously the residence of Prince Harry. Sources say he believes that moving would represent a permanent exile. Supporters of Camilla argue that the government should not bear the costs of maintaining and protecting a non-working royal residing in a 30-bedroom palace. In March, tabloids increased their coverage of Andrew, framing him as an unsuitable tenant by accusing him of delaying roof repairs and laying off workers, subtly labeling him. A former royal communications officer indicated that unfavorable briefings influence public sentiment regarding regaining the land. However, she does not attribute this movement to any specific group. William has reportedly communicated to close aides that decisions regarding Andrew's home should be postponed until the next reign, deferring debate and dismissing the notion that Camilla orchestrated her brother-in-law's expulsion. Public moods and the voices of experts. Constitutional expert Sir Vernon Bogdanor has expressed concern that an open clash between the heir and the Queen would damage the Crown's carefully constructed image of mystery. He predicts that Charles will find a way to accommodate Camilla respectfully without displacing a royal currently in residence. Royal biographer Penny Junor points out that Charles and Camilla had to overcome decades of antagonism to gain public acceptance. She argues that Camilla's instinct is to preserve, not to conquer, and that she is unlikely to provoke William unnecessarily. A YouGov survey from April 2025 shows William's popularity at 77%, while William's approval rating stands at 46%, a 14-point increase since the coronation. The survey results indicate that 59% of respondents support releasing Royal Lodge from Andrew's occupation, suggesting that the public may favor a pragmatic solution. Focus group transcripts reveal a generational divide. Participants from the Millennial and Gen Z generations express little interest in royal real estate maneuvers, while those who vividly recall the royal upheavals of the 1990s are sharply divided between Diana. Loyalists wary of Camilla and traditionalists who believe a dowager queen deserves comfort. An investigation of social media conducted by Bath University reveals that the hashtag #ProtectTheWill is surging following the announcement of William's legal reshuffle. Conversely, whenever Camilla participates in an engagement without a companion, the hashtag #QueenCamillaStrong trends. This phenomenon highlights how digital echo chambers amplify the narratives of each group. Potential outcomes. 3 negotiable scenarios are being discussed among senior courtiers. The first option involves a policy freeze, preventing any changes to Royal Lodge or the will until Charles's next medical examination. This would result in a low-risk, face-saving agreement in which Camilla focuses on philanthropic activities while William moderates his public stance on the matter. The second scenario envisions a managed compromise. Andrew would accept a substantial buyout, the lodge would be refurbished, and Camilla would be granted a life tenancy that would not take effect until after Charles's death. This arrangement would provide William the flexibility to reallocate the property once he becomes king. Such a peace agreement requires complex legal choreography, but promises a sustainable resolution. The third, less likely scenario involves an open confrontation. The lodge transfer would be confirmed by a leaked will. William would question its validity, tabloids would seize the opportunity, and Republican sentiments could intensify due to the spectacle. This scenario is the least desirable for all parties involved, as seasoned mandarins worry about the reputational damage reminiscent of the Annus Horribilis of 1992. According to a senior cabinet office official, the first scenario is the one government ministers favor in private. They are concerned that public royal infighting may reignite discussions about the constitutional validity of the monarchy. A throne in transition. The unrelenting light of transparency confronts the Windsor brand in the 21st century, following a century of controlled ceremony. The drama of Edward's abdication once unfolded behind the scenes of broadsheet newspapers. Today, every whisper is broadcast on cell phones. Prince William seems to have learned a crucial lesson from this crucible. intervene early and discreetly before small murmurs escalate into crises. Insiders describe a prince who is becoming more comfortable in his role. Whether advocating for Earthshot, simplifying royal communications, or dismissing long-serving attorneys, William projects an image of corporate stewardship over inherited grandeur. One former Lord Chamberlain notes that William views the monarchy more as a stewardship than an entitlement, a perspective that sets him apart from previous heirs apparent. The transformation that Queen Camilla has undergone is similarly remarkable. She has rebranded herself as a patron of reading, domestic violence awareness, and equestrian welfare, despite being viewed by the public for many years as an intruder between Charles and Diana. However, the rapid development of her title, the sale of horses, and the progression of property negotiations suggest lingering skepticism among some court members and the general public. Historian Edward Owens observes that popular approval does not easily erase collective memory. King Charles faces the most delicate maneuver of his reign, torn between his love for his wife and his faith in his son. His personal vulnerabilities and the need to delegate unprecedented responsibilities to both Camilla and William clash with his long-held ambitions to modernize the institution, reducing expenditures, rationalizing estates, and revitalizing Commonwealth ties. The presence of overlapping jurisdictions is likely to spark tensions. Regardless of how this situation unfolds, constitutional scholars agree on one immutable fact: the monarchy's existence depends on the people's trust. If the public perceives private wealth, political infighting, or unresolved family tensions, latent Republican sentiments could gain momentum. The memories of the 1990s continue to serve as a guiding light for prudence. For now, the palace adheres to the late Queen Elizabeth's advice: never complain, never explain. In this era of instant speculation, silence could relinquish control of the narrative to bloggers, disgruntled employees, and those who identify as insiders. When asked for an updated slogan, one young courtier suggested, "Explain just enough." Britons will continue to scrutinize balcony glances, footnotes in the court circular, and the faint hum of palace gossip until a definitive decision is announced or removal vans appear at Windsor's South Gate. They will be looking for signposts that lead them to the next chapter of a dynasty perpetually poised between pageantry and realpolitik.
Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.